Get started here. Just a moment. The Old Troop Radio Network.
Countdown. There goes the neighborhood.
Go or no go for liftoff.
Those Nixie tubes are at 0.
Evening time, Des.
Hello, radio. You have big audio tonight.
I guarantee I'm going to hear you tonight.
All of Fresno's hearing you tonight.
Well, yeah, but it's nice to hear them for a change, too.
That's good. Speaking about hearing stuff, let's hear the Old Tube Radio Network as we say hello at 27085, our frequency of choice in the Central Valley, and at oldtuberadio.net across the Universal Media Netweb for your audio pleasure. Let me turn off my monitor device. I won't have feedback. And remind everybody that the Old Tube Radio Network is not a club, but we are a voluntary association of people who are interested in Old Tube Radio, so we welcome anyone to participate. We start the net with a direct-to-net roll call of the SWLs. That's the shortwave listeners. You don't need a tube radio to participate in that for sure. And after that, we will be checking in with our tube radio operators, finding what they will bring to the table on the air tonight in the form of classic tube radios from 1958 to about 1978, when they just stopped putting tubes in them. We are available on the live internet stream at oldtuberadio.net, and also on the streaming YouTube, which I think is working. I see OBP out there, and Mr. Delta X-Ray is also waving a hand, so we're looking good tonight. We will start with the roll call. Radio check-ins will follow that. The Old Tube Radio Network is on the way. We are in week 6 of this 8-week roster, and as always, we check in with our current double zero, and that would be Phil.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. Double zero checking in.
Checking in and looking good on the meter, and if I bring up the SWL chart and type in the right numbers, you will see that indeed you are checked in. Thanks for listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. And what do we want for the video? Let's put on, if you want to check out your audio, we'll put you up on the Orban audio meter here. There you go. That's better than looking at me. SWL number 1. Checking in from the cosmic Netherlands, or something like that. SWL2 OBP, who is taking care of our video side tonight, and he mentions that we are up to 27 on the sunspot numbers. It's been 0 for a long time, so 27 is a big improvement. We are in the bottom of the solar cycle. 27 will seem pretty wimpy in a couple of years when we hopefully will get into the triple-digit numbers. And if that's the case, at about this time, we will probably be talking to Hawaii or somewhere else, but we will enjoy it as we can right now. SWL3. SWL4. SWL5, I have a check-in for Ida, Mama Rose, who says hello to all the Old Tube radio operators and SWLs. Over to SWL6. SWL7.
SWL7 checking in.
And sounding good. Good to have you in the home QTH there. And if you're in the Radio Shack later on, we will have a space or two for you on the radio list if you so desire. Thanks for checking in.
All right, thank you.
SWL 11 and 12, Jim and Lisa checked in via email. SWL 13. And I will try to keep an eye out over at oldtuberadio.net for those of you digital listeners or anyone checking in that way can't actually get to us on 27085. In fact, let me say hello to our stations out there right now. Various stations in California. Hello, New York. Dallas, Georgia, coming up to you. Washington, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina. Hello, San Francisco and Chesapeake Bay out there, Maryland. Let me know if you guys have all fired up a tube radio somewhere this week, and we'll mark you on the digital radio side when we do the radio roll call at the end of everything. SWL 14, SWL 15, SWL 16, SWL 17, SWL 18. Okay, and then we jump over to SWL 20, who is proxy. We got a proxy for Harvey. So if you're out there, Harvey, listening in on your Universal Media Net web device, hello to you. You get a chance, drop us a message if you can. Then we go to SWL 21, who had what I really think was a never before used Cobra Cam 88 up on the radio desk tonight for old radio night. The modulation light blinking. It was hard for me to tell. I think you had the range expand, the range boost switch in the up position. Obviously, I can't hear the transmit audio. I can hear your studio audio, but boy, that radio looked like you just took it out of the box. And I'm taking it that you had some skip conditions out there tonight like we did. For a while, we had New Mexico come by. See what happens as the net progresses tonight. Thanks, JT, for checking in. Over to SWL 22, SWL 23, SWL 24.
24, checking in.
SWL 24. I hope they're being nice to you. Maybe you can stay up. Stay up to 9 o'clock tonight. Thanks, Joseph.
Nope, on my way to bed.
All right. Yep. I used to do that. So thanks for staying up late, getting checked in. Over to SWL 25. He might be out with the band tonight. You just never know. Page 2. Do I have I've got the cross band on. SWL 27. Excellent. The voice of experience there. Thanks, Dwayne. KB6GFD. From the crossband radio. It looks like I'm off frequency over there a little bit, but sometimes you can get away with that on FM. SWL 27, listening into our conversation, and with his take on the things back in the day, he mentions, don't forget about that Hudson gas station that was over there on the corner that you guys were trying to think of. So anybody ever put some Hudson, what was their brands? Ethel? Super Supreme? Anyway, let's think about that when we're checking in the tube radios tonight as you drive up in your 1969 Pontiac Le Mans to the Hudson station. Directed net roll call. We will have tube radios checking in shortly here, looking for, we got a proxy check-in for SWL 29, Mr. Bill. And that takes us over to SWL 31. That's Robert and Teresa. And I do believe, let me double check. I wasn't seeing things right there in the center of the stadium tonight, Hendersonville, Tennessee. Thanks for waving a hand and saying hello to all the tube radio operators tonight. 31 is checked in. We'll go over to SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control. The Jingle Singers are here. We were having some audio board difficulties earlier. If you were listening to the pre-stream, you probably heard them practicing a lot. I think everything's okay now. We haven't tested it yet, so that doesn't mean a thing. And can we get a honk of the proboscis? Yeah, from Bozo Control. We're looking good here at 33 tonight. Over to SWL 35, and that is Mr. Bill, who is waving a hand from Cheyenne, Wyoming tonight, checking in on the big board. There is supposed to be, I would say, some cold weather, but the cold weather is already there. Some really cold weather coming that way. So we will look for the reports next week to see how you're making out when things start getting even more nasty. Let's go over to SWL 36.
Yeah,
Sounding good. I've got this noise level that comes up and goes down and comes up and goes down. Right now it's kind of quiet. And regardless, you are coming in good, Roy. Mr. Apache, thanks for checking in.
thank you. Yeah.
Now, I did not hear this station key up during the sandbox before the net, but he just might be out there. SWL 37. And if you're listening in, Chris, but not right at the radio microphonium, we will get you proxied in if you don't make it to the microphone tonight. Hope you're doing well and recovering in fine style. Next, we've got SWL 39. SWL 40 has a proxy check-in. I know he left, I think he said he was going to leave up the audio stream on 38 lower side band, and he may be doing some swap meet stuff. We'll see what the report is next week, what kind of goodies he will be bringing back from Turlock. SWL 41. SWL 42.
Good evening, Dennis and the Net, 42, 90, and 137, checking in.
All right, we will get the triple play. We've got 33% of that right now from the control point, or as the best control point that it is. Sounding good, we got you checked in. SWL 43.
Good evening, Dennis. 43 is on the key, and wishing you good evening.
On the key, sounding good. 8 S units well above the noise tonight. And the X is in the square. Thanks for shouting out to the Old Tube Radio Network, 27085 in the Central Valley and all across the universe at oldtuberadio.net.
Yeah, I put a new battery in my mic. Anyway, 37 Chris called me last night, and he said he got a clean bill of health from the doctors yesterday.
All right. That's what I want to hear. He's looking good. He's like 100% modulation. He's looking good on their scope, and that's what we'd like to hear. Thanks for the update.
Roger, roger.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. We're on page 2, direct net roll call. We've got Tube Radios coming up in about 20 minutes, so stay tuned for that. SWL 44, Raymond and Company. Waving a hand where I think I've seen some pictures of snow on the mobile antenna. And there might be more. In fact, he's showing snowflakes on his check-in roster. So we know what's happening there. And are you really putting up a 100-foot tower? You know, if you get it up high enough, people don't notice. They look right through it. It's when they make you lower the thing down to 35 feet where everybody can see it that things get nasty. You'll be getting set up for beaconing this way. And putting the hurt on mini grass when we get the DX rolling in. Thanks, Ray, for checking in. Let's head over to Paul, SWL 45.
You're sounding good tonight. Well, maybe I should have saved this radio for the coming weekend if it's going to be as bad as you say it's going to be. 45 checking in.
Well, I'm just repeating what I heard. This extended weather forecast say that the Gulf Stream might drop down when it drops down through the central U.S. and up through the northeast and creates those. It's minus 20 in Chicago, and we're complaining about 39 degrees on the West Coast. So we'll see what happens. You're sounding good.
Thanks, Dennis.
Where are we going here? Looking for SWL 46. SWL 47. SWL 48. Sometimes we get Sammy on the net page. We'll keep an eye out for Sam. SWL 49. Oh, copy ray. Yeah, you are definitely right. You try that in Fresno, and you will have the good taste committee out at your front doorstep. SWL 50. SWL 51.
51 checking in.
5151 checking in. Delta Alpha Victor Echo is the way I think we say it on amateur radio. You're sounding good from the recesses of Sangertown.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good evening.
All right, and always good audio on that radio. Over to SWL 52. SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
I know it's time to turn the page when I hear the voice, the mellifluous voice of Mr. Belair. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Page 3. Let me see who's waving a hand over on the video side. I think I saw the mighty KJG 4755. Yes, Juliet Whiskey, John, waving a hand from Iowa in his Radio Shack tonight. Hope you had some good DX on all the bands if you were able to get on the air. And thanks for coming out here tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. Also, over on the big board, keeping Ohio safe and sane, the Bob and Steve show out there in Oxford and Westchester. Thanks for giving me flowers sounding from the air chair. It's still working. This air chair was actually a toss. One of those, we're going to toss it in the trash from one of the radio stations, and it still was, the wheels were still good, and the little pneumatic lifter was still good. And I said, okay, I think I'll load that up in the station wagon and bring it in here. And so far it's working good. So if I ever sink down and I'm 4 or 5 feet away from the PR-40, you'll know that the pneumatic device has stopped working in the air chair. Thanks, guys. We are looking for SWL 54. SWL 55.
55 checking in.
All right. Is it more cold or less cold up there?
It's warm.
Yeah, it's warm. I guess it might be changed. I was hearing some people lament SWLing on some of the 40-meter stuff. You know, the guys up in Northern California saying that the snow level is way, way down in certain parts. So I guess we do need some of that stuff if we want to have a nice summer. Thanks, Eminem.
Thank you.
The station that got us started off as 00 with the 2-for-1 coupon, an SWL 56.
56, just for kicks.
And again, let me click the button here and make you official once again. Thanks. SWL 57.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
SWL 59.
Uh-oh. Should we go back to Butte?
I think we're heading the right way. SWL 60.
Thank you much, Dennis. SWL 60 checking in this evening with my Cobra 29 Classic. This is one of my favorites off the old shelf. A few modifications on it, a little echo and talkback and good stuff on it. Dennis, I'd like to have you check in 69 Ken 2, if you can.
Okay, we'll do Kenny on the Mustang 269. We'll get checked in. And the radio, your choice radio for this week sounding good. Looking good, too. I see an S9 when you have the microphonium keyed. And then I see 15 dB over S9 when there's audio introduced. So big time on the signal and sounding good.
Thank you much, Dennis.
SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
Sounding good, sir. We will get you marked in for, what is today? The 26th of January, 2019. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 62. SWL 63. That is our New York contingent. Bubba and the gang. They were in earlier. Anybody still in from New York? Yeah, absolutely. Right there. Right there in the front row. I didn't see you. Must have been over at the at the popcorn machine. Well, mention that you're listening to OTR, and they might fill it up, give you a refill. All right, now drum roll. Drum roll, please. SWL 64.
I'm so sorry. You woke me up. The radio actually woke me up out of bed, and I was thinking I heard 69 already or something.
Well, you were on the right page. We did the little alarm when we went to page 3, and you are, as 62 would say, on frequency and on time. Thanks, Jack.
Okay.
Next is SWL 65. So make sure I see who's supposed to be checked in and who is not. SWL 66. SWL 67.
I'm not 66, but how about 47?
Oh, all right. Well, let's see. I'm still on that area here, so we will put in 47 and say hello, radio. And thanks for the musical link.
Oh, good. Yeah, I actually did purchase that album, and it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. But maybe more on that later.
All right. I see you're making some music of your own. Just only thing is, it tunes itself the way it wants to go, but you can just wave the baton. Sounding good, and we will look forward to talking about radios coming up a little bit later. SWL 67. SWL 68. Let me give a quick check for Thomas on the big board. Don't see him in there. How about SWL 69? We've got a proxy in for Ken. SWL 70.
I'm late.
Hey, all right. Well, we got the report that you got the report that the doctor says you are looking like 100% modulation, or soon to be, so that's a good thing. SWL 37, hello in the radio room.
And hello. Now, he said things were looking very good.
All right. Well, maybe you're at like 98% modulation, so you don't have far to go.
Oh, okay.
And you are sounding good, I must say. Thanks for checking into the Old Tube Radio Network.
You bet.
The Old Tube Radio Network, where we will be talking to the classic 11-meter radios with the glow-in-the-dark vacuum tubes, secreted inside. Sometimes not so secret, as you can look at them through the case and they beacon their nice little warm glow across the room. That's going to be happening here in about 10 minutes after the roll call, so stay tuned for that. We are looking for, where did we stop? Okay, spin the big wheel, SWL 71. And I think Stan is probably perched in his favorite spot over at oldtuberadio.net, working Winter Field Day. Winter Field Day. How come I don't know about that? Summer Field Day. I'll have to check that out. I didn't realize there was a Winter Field Day. I know they have the winter the VHF contest, which I think was last week or 2 weeks ago, and the summer contest. So I guess it would make sense to have a Winter Field Day. It's at least here on the West Coast, you'd think this would be a big thing, because we wouldn't have to go trudging through the snow to put up our antenna. So anyway, good luck on CQFD there, Stan, and hopefully there are some new stations getting interested in the amateur radio side. Field Day is always a good venue for that. Over to SWL 72. SWL 73. SWL 74. SWL 75. SWL 77.
77, Dennis the Menace over here in the Tower of Power in the Tower District. Checking in, waving a hand to all the listeners.
Yeah, big power tower, 20 over. And most excellent audio. You're up there with 52. He's got the classic Kenwood. You have turned that one into just the same, I think. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
Comment.
And this is the comment frequency. Go ahead.
We should put Sunset Strip after him. Remember? 77, Sunset Strip. Hey, Cookie.
Cookie. Lend me your comb. I can kind of remember watching that show. I remember the theme song. I think it was probably more of an adult-type show. And however old I was at that time, it probably wasn't of interest to me, except for the theme song, the catchy theme song there. Yeah, we've been going retro tonight. They were talking about old Fresno and drive-in theaters and White Front and Zodi's and Hudson gas stations. So 77 Sunset Strip, old cars and TV shows goes right along with what we'll be doing tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. Heading over to SWL 78. SWL 79.
Proxy DC fill in.
All right, Philip will get a proxy. I didn't even hear him on the pre-show tonight. Sometimes I'll hear him pop in, and then he goes off to Parts Beyond. So we'll get DC checked in, or proxied in. Thanks.
Yeah, he had to do the work thing, so. All right, thanks, Dennis.
That work thing, doggone it. Yeah, well, we don't encourage people to sneak in their Universal Media Net web device to check in. We want you to stay safe wherever you might be. But if you get a chance to listen in and wave a hand at oldtuberadio.net, that's a good thing. SWL 80. And where are we going? Oh, page 4. The patient people. I do believe this station was on somewhere this week. SWL 81. Maybe it was Facebook. I'm going to get Steve Areno, Mr. Unicorn, checked in here because I know he was out. I've got some data that says he was out here somewhere. SWL 82.
82, check it in. And I think there was a break OTR. So 82 from the Ditch Bank Spiral, and I'm checking in.
All right. Boy, you're loud tonight. Mr. Ron is loud on my headphoniums tonight. Okay, we got you checked in. I did think I also heard somebody. Was there a station breaking for OTR? Over.
Hey, Dennis, you might proxy in into one Mr. Steve-O. He might be taking care of business, you know what I mean?
All right, yeah, we'll get Steve-O checked in there. And like I said, I think I saw him make a Facebook post on the page somewhere or something. So I know he is around and about. Thank you. We had 82. How about SWL 84? SWL 85 is in the house and checking in at oldtuberadio.net. Let's see if 85's on the radio.
85, checking in.
Hey, 85 coming through the noise here, Midtown Fresno, with no problem. Sounding good, John. Over.
All right, thanks, Dennis. You too. We're out here this way.
All right, we got some good conditions tonight. When it gets quiet like that, you just know that SDR noise level is going to pop up there, and you just never know what we'll be hearing. Thanks for checking in. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a proxy check-in for SWL's 84, 86, 87, and 88. We get all of them on the board here tonight. Takes us to SWL 89. When there was somebody in there, I'm not sure if that was for OTR or not.
Yes, it was.
Was that 650?
No, it was a break for OTR. That's all.
Okay. I hear the break, or I can hear the station, but I'm probably not going to be able to copy. It's in my noise a little bit, so if you can get a relay in their station, we will be glad to take your take your traffic here for the Old Tube Radio Network. I've got SWL 90 on a proxy check-in. Actually, a real check-in. I'll take that back. That's, let's see, 66% on that one. Over to SWL 92. I heard 90. I think I heard 92 check-in on the 10-meter net, but I don't hear them tonight. SWL 93.
And 93 checking in, and good evening to all the SWLs out there.
Yeah, it's fun and exciting and profitable to be a shortwave listener, according to Billy Hallicrafters. And so we should all try to be like that. We should all try to be like 93 and sandbag a little bit. Thanks, Louis. You're sounding good.
Thank you much. Yeah, just had to take time out to do this check-in, man. You know, I got this motor I'm working on, so. All right, we'll check you out later.
Thank you, sir. We go to SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
SWL 98. That's Fresno Dave, waving a hand. Thank you, sir. Sounding good.
Thank you, Dennis.
And then from the Magic Mystery Mobile, SWL 103.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead, over.
Hey, Dennis, he's trying to check in.
Who was that? What was the number again, over?
92.
92, all right. For some reason, and I did hear him also on the Wednesday night net, and I noticed his signal was lower or weaker than usual, and thanks for the relay. That's Chuck out there in Madera, so I don't know, maybe something's changed on my end, but normally I don't have any problem hearing him at all. Thanks for being diligent, Chuck, and getting checked in. Sorry we were not hearing you, and thanks for the relay on SWL 92. And I have to go out with some sandpaper, polish the antenna a little bit. Let me call SWL 103 again. SWL 109. SWL 110. SWL 111.
Yeah, there goes your headphones. Anyway, sure is good to hear everybody tonight. It's been a while. I like to do this every 2 or 3 months, and I can't hear you. Most of you guys, I can't hear you in Reedley anymore. It's too noisy. But sure was nice hearing everybody. I can get on the road now, head back home. Y'all take care. 111, checking in.
Sounding good. 30 over with an X in the square. I wonder what's going on between here and Reedley. Maybe they need to dust off those, squirt off those power lines or something, making too much static. But you're sounding good, and hopefully our conditions will improve. SWL 111, Robert, making the tour of central Fresno, North Fresno, downtown Fresno this evening in the mobile radio. So a lot of our SWLs that tune in that don't often hear you very well through my receiver from Reedley are saying, so that's what he sounds like tonight as he's putting in a good 30 over signal. Thanks.
Contact.
Comment.
All right, we've got a contact and a comment. Contact, hang on one, comment, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Robert for coming out. It was a pleasure talking to him tonight.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I met him at various ham functions, and he is, as you probably know, very active in the amateur radio field, especially when it comes to the public service events and the emergency events. You can count on Robert to be out there keeping things up and running the way it should be for amateur radio. Then we had a contact. The contact, go ahead.
Hello, Dennis. 70 checking in.
70, scooting back just a little bit. I have to do the thing. Who was it? I can't remember the name. She was Richard Nixon's secretary, and she had to stretch out and do something with her foot at the desk, and it ended up making that 18.5-minute gap in the tape. So I was trying to get over to SWL 70 on the list because it's way over there, but I will not make an 18.5-minute gap here in the net tonight. 70 is checked in.
All right. I'm not sure exactly what just happened there, but thanks for checking me in, Dennis.
Well, we were being retro tonight and talking about all things kind of 1970s, and that one popped into my head. And I can't, for the life of me, someone's going to type it on the screen, remember the name of that. She was a secretary in one of the offices in the White House, and she did the infamous 18.5-minute tape gap on the Nixon tapes by stretching, saying she had to stretch somehow across the desk and hit some switch or lever. All right, enough of that. And I agree. I have no idea what's going on. And what I do know is that we will be checking in radios here very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that as we are on page 4. The roll call, 70's checked in, 111 is in. How about SWL 113? SWL 114.
114 checking in.
SWL 114, hello, Wayne. I'm putting the X in the square 6 in a row out of 8 so far, and you are sounding good on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you.
SWL 128. I cannot find my mouse pointer. It has gone away. All right, there it is. So we'll get 128, and I will go over to the other screen where off times our Fairfax, Virginia station waves a hand and tells us what is going on. Now, tonight, it appears that he is not out there just yet, so I will keep a watchful eye out for Fairfax, Virginia on the big board. Over to SWL 131. Shortwave listener 133.
Good evening, Dennis. 133 checking in.
133. Dave out there in northwest Fresno. Sounding good. Thank you for checking in. SWL 135. See, we have a proxy. We have a proxy for 135, so we'll get Mr. Cliff proxied in. We also have a check-in. We are 100% now on the triple play with SWL 137. We head up 10 for SWL 147. And Neil is indeed in the house tonight from Fayetteville, North Carolina. The report is Rosemary Woods. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Neil wins the prize. It was on the tip of my tongue. And I did not, what I meant to say, what I was supposed to say is I did not do a Rosemary Woods, and I was going to leave it at that and see if anybody knew what the heck I was talking about. But anybody that knows 77 Sunset Strip would know that. Once again, the weather cold out to where Neil is, below 30 at night. Usually we have some of those below 30s. I don't think we've had any here in the Central Valley proper, maybe way out in the outskirts. Radio very quiet this week, and when he managed to get it on the radio, so hopefully we'll get more radio time and hear some DX. We had New Mexico just before the net tonight, so we'll see if the band is open. Thanks, Neil, for the report. And the trip down memory lane, SWL 195.
195, checking in, guys. Good evening to you.
Good evening from Midtown Fresno, SWL 195. Jim up there in coarse gold. Foothills above Fresno. Beaconing down across the valley here tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
SWL 226. And a moment or two for anyone that would like to check in that I missed, or try it again and I'll stop talking so I can hear you, or whatever. OTR looking for SWL check-ins.
103 checking in.
All right, we've got a couple there. We've got 650 sounding good now. I don't know if that was you before, but I hear you great now. Thanks for waving a hand here to all of us in Central Valley and everywhere else at oldtuberadio.net. And from the Magic Mystery Mobile from moments ago, let me bring up the big board here, and we'll put an X in the square for SWL 103. Hello, Jeff.
Hola.
Ola, Ola in the... We used to say that long ago. Ola, Ola in the Mobile. I think that was Western Man. That was his sign-on. He used to drive around. He was a driver. He used to drive around all night long up and down the valley. And he would come on and say, Ola, Ola in the Mobile. Thank you. Any other stations?
Sounding good out here by the airport, Dennis. Take care, buddy. Thanks for what you do.
All right, S9... and looking good out there in the no man land. Maybe you're making that, what is that, the Dakota Curve, the Chestnut Diagonal, that weird little spot out there where there is nothing but a few streetlights far off lands. All right, I'm going to run around like a crazy person, get the studio set up for the tube radios. We'll be back in a couple of minutes here on your old tube radio network with your famous and your favorite. Your famous. I think I made a new word. With your famous old tube radios. Back in a moment. And you're listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's see if the jingle singers are going to work for us tonight.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the music and the latest news from home and from afar. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you.
Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
They're working too well. They can sing from both sides of their mouth there. Hello, the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's glowing in the dark. 27085, Channel 11 is where we are at in the RF zone in Central California. Everywhere else at oldtuberadio.net. Hello to those who may be listening or tuning or watching in there. And the YouTube video is up. So anybody watching live or maybe in the near future, hello to you. What we do here is we talk with and talk about the old tube radios from 1958 through 1978. Our radio collectors are at the radio warming up their various collecting pieces. That'll get us on the air tonight. I hope we will hear some radios tonight. We have been gathering here on Saturdays at 8 p.m. for 34 years, believe it or not. And we hope to do another 34 as long as the tubes keep running. And there's somebody out there to key them up. Hopefully, wherever you might be, if it's not here in Central California, you do something similar to get on the air, whether it's with vintage radios or just to key down the microphone and make sure the antenna still works. I've got my old tube radio list at the ready, and we will see what we can do. Maybe we can fill it up here with 20 or 30 radios tonight. OTR is standing by.
37, 37.
45.
All right, I'm going to get my cue list here. Hello, Paul, 45. Jump up into the green room. We will be right with you for radio number 2. And it wasn't hard to tell who radio number 1 was going to be tonight. Hello, 37.
Hello, Dennis. SWL37 here. We're going to at least check in one tonight. And I'm going to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A, a 24-channel version. I just heard this, and here's got the old man in the wheelchair with the IV bag and everything hanging up there off the canister. So that was me 2 weeks ago.
You were living the life of the radio there. I'm going to, for our viewers, see if I can't find a general radio C11A. There's one right there. It is right there. Because it sounds so good and nice and loud. And there is, I'm going to use the pointer. There's the old man in the wheelchair that he refers to. You'll have to use your imagination for that. Chris, you are sounding good and getting us off to a good start here. Back to you.
Yeah, I figured, well, I haven't checked in one in, 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. Maybe a month almost, right around a month. So I figured I'd at least try to get in there first to get one in.
Well, you did just that. So if you need to set back in the easy chair, but to within earshot of the Old Tube Radio Network, you will know that you have started the ship on its voyage tonight with a very fine-sounding radio, the general radio telephone, Super MC11A. I don't have a production date for that, but I want to say it's 1971 or 72. I'm thinking maybe before that. It has 9 tubes. In their Super Master Control series, this was the one that was updated, one of the ones updated to the ECLL 800 modulator output tube. And for those of you listening in, Chris is doing no trickery to make that radio sound. There's a way to strap it with a plug in the back, which he's not doing, and there's probably ways to amplify your microphone to sound loud, but he's using the stock microphone. That's the way the radio came. Back to you.
Yeah, there ain't no tricks to it. It just works. That's all I can say. It's all radio.
All radio all the time on your Old Tube Radio Network. All right, I won't keep you too long, but I thank you for jumping in. Good to hear your voice and to get your radio. This might be your first radio check-in of the new year, 2019, and it's looking good here on the page. The general radio telephone Super MC11A. One more transmission. Oh, I was going to ask you a question. What was I going to ask you? There is a knob underneath the S meter there, and it looks like, I want to say, it's plus and minus. I may have answered my own question. It's probably some type of a fine-tuning device, so I would imagine you probably got it pointed, if there's a pointer on there, probably up in the 12 o'clock position.
Yeah, I think mine's, I can't see it that good. I don't have my glasses on, but yeah, that's what it is. It's a fine tuner, and you are right. I have not been able to check in on the radio until today was the first time this year. For December 31st, I was in the hospital doing surgery, and it weren't my New Year's Eve. I've never missed a New Year's Eve before in my life. And that was one I definitely missed. And yeah, hey, it was worth it in a way, I guess.
Well, look at it this way. It's 2019, and you are back, and literally better than ever, probably. So that's a good thing. Thanks for taking out the time tonight, mustering up the energy, which it sounds like you have a lot. And that's a good thing for checking in tonight.
Okay, well, not a whole lot of energy, but I got more than what I did. All right, Des, thank you. I'm out and listening.
All right. Hopefully we didn't take the allotment tonight. Hope you still have enough left to do what it is that you should be doing. Next, coming up into the air chair is SWL 45. He will be Radio 2. While you step up there, Paul, I want to say hello to and check in X4000 in beautiful Brentwood. beaconing down the I-5 corridor here into Midtown Fresno tonight. And also looking in. The page is too far away. I can't see it. Brian, the mighty KUH, is waving a hand over on the video side. Hello, Brian. Thanks for checking in. And now that I have access, I've been accessing some of the SDR radios. I might actually be able to hear some of the AM guys up that way that don't come through my bad antenna here. So what can I say? What I should say is, hello, Paul. Over to you.
Yeah, welcome back, 37. Good to hear you again. Anyway, I'd like to check in my Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV.
The Mark IV. We don't hear many, and I like the way that one sounds. I can't remember if in the amount of time you were checking it in last year, if you made some audio changes or whatever, but it is nice and clear and doing what it should do right now. I want to say that most of those were 40 channel units, but I've heard that there were some that might have showed up with 23 channels on the display, but I will defer back to you, and you can tell us if that's a 40 channel unit or not, and I'll see if I can find a picture of a Mark IV here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is quite a long radio. It's two pieces, 31 inches when it was put together. It's got tubes in the receiver and the transmitter. You remember about 20-some years ago, and I think you probably do, I tried to check this thing in, and you said, no, we don't allow those radios in there. I thought we talked to you a little bit better, and you said, okay, we'll let you bring it in. But that time you weren't allowing hybrids in, and this thing is a hybrid. Really fancy hybrid. This is the last radio that Browning put out, and I'll tell you, they put out a fine radio. Back to you, Dennis.
Yeah, and you are absolutely correct. I think a majority of the net controllers at that time said, well, if you have a transmitter, regardless of what the receiver, and we can hear your transmitter, it's a check-in, and if it's an all-tube, because you could pair a solid-state radio with an all-tube radio as long as it was two separate pieces, a transmitter. But say your receiver died, you could check in by using a solid-state receiver, because we are hearing the transmitter, and the transmitter was all tubes in one box. When it came to a hybrid like that radio, and the DAC, and the FT101 series, and the FT102 series, there was controversy in that in one box, you do have the transmitter, you've got the tubes, but in the same box, you also have the solid-state transmitter that is not using tubes, a 12AX7 or whatever for the audio driver. And back in the day, like I said, 30 years ago, then it was sort of, well, is that really an old tube radio? Because it's not an all old tube. So fast forward 30, 25 years later, when these radios are now really old tube radios, and they're pretty vintage. They're out there, and they deserve their day in the sun. And so we put them on the list. Not that they never shouldn't have been there in the first place, but I think after 30 years or so, they've aged. They're classic looking, and doggone it, they got a few tubes in there. maybe not all in the right spots, but it's a good deal. Radio number 2, and there's a picture. I've got a thing. Did they changed it quite a bit, really. I mean, it's still the two-piece radio, but they did make some definite changes between the Mark III and the Mark IV. Over.
Yeah, quite a difference is right. To be honest with you, I love this radio, but I like the 3. It's just because it's an old tuber. This is really a super radio. I'm running a Turner CS-1 custom special mic on the thing. It seems to like it backing off quite a ways, about 12 inches back, which is comfortable. That's about it. I'll tell you what, just a big, giant, beautiful radio. Back to you.
It is. It's very nice. Some of the people who are Browning fans will tell you that out of all the radios that Browning made, that would be one of their favorites. So you are in good company. Radio number 2, we're logging in at 8:52. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV. And I remember someone telling me that all of those may not have been made at the Browning factory. $895 is the price I'm showing for 1977. $900 back in 1977. So it was, I guess, then it was, am I going to get that Pinto? Am I going to buy that used Pinto from the neighbor down the street? Or am I going to buy the brand new Browning Eagle? And so, decisions. Thanks, Paul. It's sounding good here.
Yeah, I used to listen to these things back there in the 60s and 70s. Well, I envied the guys that had a Browning, because you knew it was on the air. Anyway, I got one. It only took 20 years or so later. That sure didn't cost $800. All right, thanks for checking.
Thanks for bringing it by. And 75% tubes. I remember we had sort of a percentage thing. Thanks, OBP. I was trying to remember what we did, but I do remember the transmitter rules. As long as you had a transmitter box that was tubes and you had a separate receiver that wasn't, but you needed to hear, we would check in the transmitter. When you combined the two into one box, that was the gray area. Who's new on the list? Hello to Chester Springs, Pennsylvania. Oakland, good to see you up there, way up there in the balcony, along with Monterey. It's been a long time. Our Monterey 19, it always shows up, who's been tuning in digitally for years, almost since we started the stream here, listening in. Hope you are doing well, and welcome back to the Old Tube Radio Network. We are looking for Radio 3, and let's see, I'll wait. The Jingle Singer is going to do an ID, but we'll wait see if we get Radio 3 first.
Break OTR.
The break OTR. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Roger. 43 checking in with a Browning Mark III. It's a straight AM model with a small transmitter and the sideband receiver.
All right, and plenty of audio. Nice audio on the Mark III AM only. There are fewer of those, I think, than the SSB models. However, when you look at the price point, I think those are about $200 less. And what I'll do, let me put up an advertisement of the Mark III as we go back to you for another transmission sounding most excellent. Over.
Hey, Roger, Dennis. Yeah, Mark III all sideband. I got to find a part for it, but it'll be on the air sooner or later.
Well, we will be here Saturdays, 8 to 10, as we always are. It's not a good quality picture, but that gives you the idea of the difference. The AM, of course, transmitter was the smaller, it didn't match the size. At least, let me put it this way, it didn't match the physical size of the receiver, but the AM was still the great Browning AM that was in all of their transmitters, and probably the same one that you would have purchased for $200 less. If you got sideband at $495. Believe it or not, this is $400 less than 5 years later on the Mark IV. So, yeah, you saved about $200 by buying the Mark III AM mode. It's sounding good, and good to hear you and get you on the tube radio list. Back to you for another transmission. You are Radio 3.
Okay, Dennis, I kind of envy 45. He's got that Mark IV over there. I'd love to put that in my collection.
Yeah, and it was sounding good. He's got that thing just dialed in. As we always say, it's if you're making your Browning sound bad, you are trying too hard, because it's very hard to do that. Doing good, and thanks for bringing it by. We will look for more radio activity up your way in the future. And the Jingle Singers are saying it's 9 o'clock. Do you know where your old tube radio is?
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network, we are looking for Radio 4. Hey, Paul, I've got you. I'm just trying to... Anybody watching the video seems to be hopping around here. I'm trying to adjust my chair. You know, I talked about this chair earlier, about how nice it was working, and it's probably going to fall apart now that I mention it, but I needed to get set up here so I don't knock everything out. There's a lot of stuff out of the view of the camera here that you can't see that I have to be careful to not upset, or we'll definitely be off the air. Paul, you've got Radio 4 for us, first radio of the second hour. Go ahead.
Okay, this is my Aircastle 23-02.
Wow, okay, we're going to the top of the alphabet, Aircastle. And you gave me a number which I didn't write down. What I'm going to do is go to Aircastle and give me the number once again. I believe it started with 23, over.
23-02.
All right. Winner, chicken dinner. We do have a shot of that. You know, it looks very familiar. I put the screen here. That radio looks very familiar, like it could be part of a Courier Fanon or something like that. Sounds good. I always love the little Aircastle logo. It's got the castle and the kind of futuristic Aircastle streamlined thing down there in the corner. Doing a good job. Let's talk about the Aircastle, but first let's go back to you for a transmission.
Okay. Well, they had made another one. The Fanon Fanfare is a twin to this one, made exactly the same way. This radio was sold in the Spiegel catalog. Remember the Spiegel catalog? A lot of people don't, but I do. Approximate year was 1972 when this thing came out. It's Sam CB38. It's quite an interesting radio. Like I say, it's made by Courier. I never had real good luck with Courier radios. Not that they're not a good radio, just myself. But this is working good. And I've also got that Fanfare, like I said. It's working just as good, too. I may check it in later on just for fun. They're a well-made radio. I'm not saying where they're made. I'm not too sure. Do you know, Dennis?
Well, you're correct on the Fanon. And I thought it was Fanon Courier back then, but I'm not sure. I'm looking to see what I've got in the files here. We've got it 11 tubes, 6 BQ5, output modulator, and it doesn't say. But, yeah, there's Spiegel. We have the Burstein Appleby, which is a catalog. They had one, Spiegel, which was this one. Montgomery Ward's, I think, had some. JCPenney's. Sears sold E.F. Johnson's under a different name. So this was the, like you said, the Fanon Fanfare. And the Spiegel catalog, I remember that was on the Steve Allen show. He used to say, Spiegel, Chicago, Illinois, 60609. So maybe we'll do that here for, if you get your Spiegel catalog, Chicago, Illinois, 60609, and go back to 1970 or 71 maybe. See if you can't find the Aircastle. I just noticed that this is, the photo we're showing is from your collection. I was thrown because it was on a nice kind of a draped background. Normally your radios are taken outside with the pine trees, but it does say it's from your collection. So what we see is what we get. Back to you.
Yeah, it's my radio. I think there's a picture of it up there. There is one, and there's some of the Rob got in there. Yeah, it's a neat radio, nice-looking radio, real pretty radio. That one up there is brown. Mine's the same color. They made this in different colors, blue, green, and everything. They didn't seem to make any difference. Whatever it was, they painted them all different colors, put the same name on it, and sent them out. But it turned out a darn nice little radio, too. So that's about it for the thing. I'm running a Turner Plus 3 microphone on the thing. Of course, it's come with a soft mic, so I'm using what phones anyway. I hope it sounded okay. Back to you, Dennis.
Boy, it sounds excellent. The audio is really good, and that will give me a time to promote the archive for those stations that would like to give themselves a radio check. Easy to do. The audio of the net, the check-ins, the SWL check-ins, and the Tube Radio check-ins are archived at old@tuberadio.net. There should be an archive button at the top of the page. If you click on it, and wait a minute or two as the OTR magnetophone loads all these little 3-inch reel-to-reel tapes, and then it will display a list of dates. And whether it's an SWL or Tube Radio check-in, you can click on the date you want, your Tube Radio or SWL check-in, put it in the media player of your choice, and then scroll around trying to find out where the heck it was that you checked in, and you should hear the audio as it was heard over the air, over the internet, and right here in the studio control room in an MP3. Also, we do keep the videos up for a while on YouTube, and you'll be able to hear it back that way. But I guarantee you will be pleased with what you hear. And I also want to address a comment made by SWL44, who is correctly noticing, as many of you have, when we do a camera switch, and let me do one right here, back to the control room. In most cases, you will hear sort of a digital audio glitch or an audio delay, and that has to do with the browser I'm using. Normally, I was using Chrome because YouTube is a Chrome thing, and for some reason, back a month or so ago, it stopped working properly. The cameras wouldn't function correctly on the stream video, and so I went to using Internet Explorer, which allowed the cameras to work properly, but it does not handle the switch between the cameras very well. It sort of recalibrates, and you hear the whole stream sort of hiccup. And the video, you notice, kind of pauses, which sometimes is not too easy to tell, but the audio, which is very easy to tell, does the digital glitching as well. So you will notice that on the camera switch, you are indeed hearing something going on. And until Chrome decides to fix whatever issue they have with not allowing HD cameras to go on the stream, I decided to go with a little bit better quality for the video, to do the video. And there you go. So that's the deal. Yeah, it drives me nuts, too, when I watch the replay. I'm thinking, because I don't hear it. I don't hear it in the headphoniums here. It's only on the radio or on the audio stream. Hello to, let's see, Woodland Park, Colorado is back. I know you were on there earlier. Salem, Illinois. Let me see if there's any comments I need to talk about. It doesn't seem like that. So let's say we are going to be listening for Radio 5. And am I correct in assuming that next weekend, our OTR next weekend, which will be February 2nd, will be the pre-Super Bowl OTR? As long as it's not during the Super Bowl, we should probably have some people checking in. Looking for radio number 5. You're right, Ray. When you're on CB radio, you do have to be specific when you mention the Super Bowl. And is anybody else like me when you dialing across SWLing and you go back to 11 meters and I'll be on channel 11 and it's like, I thought I heard Skip. Was that a trucker, way out there? Was that Skip? The first thing I do is roll down to Channel 6. I figure if the band is open, if there's any hole in the ozone, it will be noticeable there. If I don't hear anything on Channel 6, I don't even bother to check the 10-meter beacons. I love it when the skipper's rolling in. Channel 6, you've got 20 kilowatts of 27025 power at 40 dB over S9 from thousands of miles away, and then you go to the 10-meter beacons on a good day, and you've got 5 watts just barely coming through your noise level of CW, but that's the way it works. And if you go digital modes, you don't even need that. I haven't quite gotten into FT8 and JT65. I haven't quite gotten into those yet where you can kind of have the sub-noise level copy where you can't even tell the station's out there, but still showing up on the screen. And good night, JTSWL21. Thanks for the show tonight. Cobra Cam 88, looking great. I don't know if you use a tripod or how you get those great camera angles, making the radio the star of the show. I love that, and we'll catch you next week, and we will log you in on our digital radio side with the Cobra Cam 88. On the air live from your location out there in South Carolina, the Wasama Swamps tonight. And the Jingle Singers are saying it is, well, not quite yet. We'll hold on. See if we can get Radio 5 first.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, the friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
What happened? Everybody's old tube radios blow up tonight?
It's either too warm to need the tubes, or it's so cold you need more than the tubes. I'm not sure. We're in that kind of twilight zone, I think.
I think it's perfect out here. I thought they'd be just a blowing tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait for our pre-Super Bowl net where everybody is already stocked up with beer and chips and decides, well, maybe we can break into it early on Saturday night, and then they'll all be by the radio.
Well, maybe so. Let's hope so. All right, Dennis, I just wonder what the heck happened to everybody.
Out and about. There was a lot of people out. You can tell on the Saturdays, we go out in the kind of the middle of the afternoon, and the streets aren't that busy. But today I had to go out, and it's like, what is all this traffic? Where is everybody going? So it's one of those days where I think there was a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff scheduled this weekend. It might be because, next weekend people think, no, I'm going to stay home. So everything that I was supposed to do next week, I have to do this week. So maybe that's what it is. Everybody's just tired.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe everybody's going out getting them TVs, getting them big screen, super duper TVs, and for the game. Then they take them back the week after.
I didn't think of that. I should stop by Costco, where the 80-inch LCD screens are flying out the door, and you wheel it into the living room or the den, and you delicately open the side of the box and sort of slip it out, Just poke it out of the box, plug it in, and when it's done, you shift it back in so you don't have to worry about all that styrofoam stuff.
Okay. Seems like somebody always wants to talk when you're trying to talk, but now maybe it must be Skipway out there. Yeah, I can hear him barely coming through, but must be well out there, Skipland or something. All righty, Dennis. Well, we're going to go shine the flashlights on the ditch bank back here and make sure the coyotes aren't up there.
Yeah, keep them out on the other side of the ditch banks where all the kitties can be safe and sounding good. Yes, we talk to anybody here at the Old Tube Radio Network. If you're a first-time caller, long-time listener, would like to find out what the heck is going on, give us a call. But like Ron said, when I'm not transmitting it, I'll be able to hear you much better. OTR, we're standing by looking for radio number 5. I see even the Google bots from Mountain View, California, tuning in tonight, probably wondering the same thing. It says, where are the radios? Maybe they're tuning in to make sure that everything is okay. I will tell them that we are okay here in Central California, the Old Tube Radio Network. 34 years of listening for, talking with the Tube Radios, having a great time on Saturday evenings, kind of recreate the sound, the feel that one might get back in the day when these radios were brand new, and it was an event, right? Before social media, this was jumping on the CB radio in the evening and talking to your friends and various channels was the social media, I do believe, before you had to pay. Before you had to pay a monthly fee to do it. It was once you got the antenna in the air and the radio paid for, you could talk all you want and not get a bill at the end of the month. OTR, listening for Radio 5.
break OTR.
Man, now that is bound to wake up somebody. The break OTR, go ahead, please.
82 would like to check in his Browning. Yeah, it's a Browning. How about that? The Chicken Hawk S23 and the Chicken Hawk R27. Oh, they're Eagles. Okay, Browning Eagles. All righty. Wow, this thing, man, she works pretty good. Looks like it's working pretty good.
Well, it sure sounds good. It has certainly made the flight. I believe you said you have an S23. Let me get a shot of the S23. That's the transmitter, if you will. The sender unit, I guess, is the S. Kind of unassuming. You wouldn't think just a little contraption like that would make so much noise, but of course it has to be paired with the with the receiver. I do see what appears to be an eagle head there on the front of the transmitter. You are in our official Radio 5. We'll log in at 9:20, and we'll go back to you for another transmission. Over.
All right. Oh, we are running a D104 non-amplified microphone, the big old lollipop. I used to run the ones with the batteries, but, you know, if you don't maintain them and forget about them, that old battery gets all ooey and gooey in there, so I kind of like the non-amplified, and I think it works better here, because that amplified one, you gotta turn her way down, so this works out much better. No messy battery. Anyway, 82 from the ditch banks of Biola on the Eagle.
And sounding good. I mean, I think our experience most of the time is anybody running, like you mentioned, running a amplified microphonium on a Browning does have to do. They have to turn it way down, turn it down some more. We've had stations where we've literally asked them to step away from the microphone or put an extra cord so they can wrap themselves in the drapes at the corner of the room as a sound shield to get rid of the room echo. So if you do it right on the Browning, you will always sound nice. I do believe you said that you had the matching R27, not the 2700, but the R27. So that would be the first Eagle set. Doing a good job. The Series R27S23, whether it was a Series 1 or Series 2, was their big bass radio from 1964 to 66. And I guess it was still reasonably priced. Probably about the price of a used Rambler American station wagon, maybe. $359 over.
No kidding. 300. Wow. Pretty good. I wonder what did a ham radio go for then? You know, an HF rig, say like a Yaesu 101 or. I don't think Stilltronics, they didn't have all the bands, but they were a little bit more, huh? Well, they think they were double back in them days?
That's a really good question. Let's see, the 101 series weren't around at that time. You know what was around were still the Swans, Heathkits. I have, and I think it's from that era, and it might be from 1966 or 67. It's a Gonset G76, and that was an AM only. Well, they didn't even have sideband in it, but it had 80 through 10, and it had 6 meters. And I'm gonna research that, because I would think that radio would be about the same price, like in the $350 to $400 range. I could be wrong, because you had to have a power supply for it. It could run mobile, but it was sort of unassuming, and it wasn't the top of the line. Like a TR4 or whatever. So that I'm going to research that. That's a really good question, because the top of the line radios like the Browning and the Tram, I think a top of the line Tram probably wasn't all that much. What would be the other one? The Demco Satellite, where you had a lot of pieces and you were probably getting up in that $350 range. That would be interesting to see how that would compare. But still, in those dollars, that was a price of probably a nice color television set.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing you throw in, It's like, how much would for entertainment purposes there, TV, CB, or ham radio, I wonder what the price range, pick a year, say, I don't know, 67 or something like that. I wonder what you could get back then. I mean, that'd be kind of interesting.
And we were mentioning before, this, if I can keep my foot switch working here, in 1965, this was entertainment. A lot of these radios made their way onto the dining room, kitchen table area, or out in the living room, or out in the den. And after you got through watching Jackie Gleason, or Ed Sullivan, or Red Skelton, or Donna Reed, and Leave It to Beaver, you'd run out to the den, turn the radio on, and continue with the evening's activities. Probably speaking very calmly and politely to your Citizen Band radio friends, maybe even using your call letters, if you were so inclined. And maybe, I've seen some of the old ads where the woman of the house is dressed up in a nice, fine evening attire, and the man of the house has still got his dinner jacket and a tie, and they're sitting in front of their CB radios, ready to converse with non-hobby-like, not idle chit-chat communications. Radio number 5 online with us, the R27 S23 Eagle. The Brownings are doing good tonight. So if you're a Browning fan, you are enjoying OTR tonight. We'll go back to you for another transmission, and thanks for helping us out here from the Ditch Banks.
All right, Dennis, thanks for everything you do. And the call here is KQF 5557, and we're clear.
And the call here, such that it is, I looked around. I cannot find my original license. It is somewhere, I'm sure. Oh, and I wanted to comment on the battery thing. I have a Turner, the +2 MU, the really cool one, the two-tone blue. I cannot locate it. I know it's in a box. And doggone it, I know it has that unobtainable, what was it, a 7-volt battery is probably still in the back of that thing. And I'm just fretting that when I do find it in whatever box it's in, there's just going to be that, what did you say, ooey gooey mess of that battery. It's probably ruined the whole compartment, and you can't find them anymore. So I'm fretting about that. But I hear you when it's like, well, sometimes if you keep it simple on the microphones, you don't have to worry about such things. What was I talking about? Anyway, 73 to you. Thanks for checking in with us tonight. And before I kick out, and I'll ask for Radio 6, the Jingle Singers at the bottom of the hour would like to tell you what's going on.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
We are listening for Radio number 6. And there's a possibility that could be our Radio 6. Hello, Paul. If you can hear me through the roaring skip that's coming in tonight. No, actually, it's very quiet.
No, you're doing fine. There's no problem at all. I'm just sitting here trying to hook up radios in between. I had one malfunction on me, which is nothing new. So, anyway, this other one I got is my T-Berry Model T. It's my 23-channel radio. I checked in the 40-channel here a couple of weeks back. It's my 23-channel radio.
Good deal. Let's see if I can find the model, the 23-channel Model T, T-Berry Model T. Haven't heard one in a while. Who else has one? There's a couple of them out there. I think think SWL 70 has one. I think his is the 40 channel. I found the photo. Let me get it dialed in there. And this is also from your collection up on one of the various operating positions over there. Looks like you've got it tuned to channel 23. I think they sold a lot of these. T-Berry, I remember this is my time in profuse CB radio was about 1970 to 1973, and I remember hearing not the 40 channel version, but definitely the 23 channel version. It's probably made its way up through 1976 or so. Very, very popular radio and always sounding good like yours is. Over to you.
Yeah, this 23 channel tuber will outlast that 40 channel solid state one. I'll tell you that, or hybrid, I should say. This is solid radio, very pretty radio. It's got modulation lights on the front. It's got a modulation indicator on the left-hand side on the meter up there, and RX, TX on the thing. It's got an easy range gain on the thing, which I've got it on now. I'll cut it down and see if that made any difference. Did that drop it down quite a bit?
No, actually, that brought it up, at least to my ears. If you want to try it again, I almost want to say your audio got louder. Over.
Okay. Well, it's very possible, but on this type of microphone thing, I've got it off now. Now turn it on right there. Does that make any difference?
Okay, now that time, there was a crunch crackle when you flipped the switch, and then I did not hear any difference. Sounds like the switch may be a little bit dirty.
Yeah, okay. Well, I need to set it up with the meters and the thing and see what the microphone's doing on the thing. This isn't my normal microphone flow thing, but it's to get by. That's what it amounts to. So I haven't really said anything for it. This got quite a good radio on the thing. You got all your GBI trap tuning, meter adjustment, external speaker, PA jack to the thing, and you can control and tune it in the back, which is nice. You can tune it in and get tune it up to max what you can do on the thing. Very classy radio, I'll tell you that. I really like it. If I had the right microphone with it, it'd help too. But it's getting by, so that's all that matters. Back to you.
Yeah, we can hear it. Sounds fine. I thought I had a picture of the backside of that, but it's not coming up, so I won't mess up the one that I've got. I'm very familiar with this. Is one of the Japanese imports, but that meter, that S meter with the red bottom and the red on the top and the green SRF on the bottom was used in a couple of radios like that. I think the early Navajo radios had that. It's just such a familiar sight when I see that S meter glowing there, as I spent hours and hours, like I mentioned before, just staring into that S meter on my realistic Navajo back in the fun days of radio. And like I said, it's got lots of lights for you to tell where you were at. So yeah, you might if you exercise the range boost switch a little bit, or if you ever get in there to put some contact cleaner on it, it'll probably work. And it's not making it bad when you switch it. It's not going way down or way up. So, and your audio is nice. It sounds very natural. So I wouldn't want to touch a thing. I was seeing if I had a price point on that. I do not. But it does say it is CB54 on SAM, so it's in the SAM's PhotoFax, and it's 10 tubes with the 12AX7 and a 6BQ5. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely made in Japan. I don't know if you said that or not. It's by Panasonic, since it's prints overseas Japan. And they do. Panasonic, I think they went to Korea for a while. They sounded pretty good too. But then they finally settled in with Japan on speaking most of their radios on it. Like I said, did a fine job. Solid radios. They'll be lasting a lot longer than most of the other radios out there, I guarantee for sure. Anyway, that's about it. Well, this thing's got a black wrinkle finish on the thing. Real pretty. Got good air volume moving in the thing, so it gets plenty of air to the radio. It's just a rather good engineered radio. That's all there is to it. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
All right, thank you for bringing it by. And I did a quick frequency check while you were talking there on the sideband. It's right on. It's very, very close to being right at 27085. So No problem there. Radio number 6, the T-Berry Model T, a popular radio, and I agree with what Paul said there. Probably that one will keep on ticking long after a lot of the plastic radios are gone and forgotten. Thanks for bringing it by.
Thanks for checking it in, Dan.
Also, just want to say hello to Rob out there in Colorado. Cold night in the Rocky Mountains. Rumors are that it may be getting a lot colder if the little jet stream drops down with that Arctic blast. So the cold weather slows down the zeros and ones. Is that how it works? Man, all right. And we definitely need some conditions where you don't have to worry about coming over the internet. No openings on 10 and 11. We have sunspots, right? 27. So look for your favorite 10-meter beacon coming to a 28 250 frequency near you. If the sunspots keep it up, and we had one little 10-minute burst of New Mexico, just one station, New Mexico coming in. It's just so odd. I love that kind of skip where one station comes in, they're super loud. I don't hear anybody else. You don't hear the people they're talking to, and then they're gone. Just like little, like a magnifying glass, taking the signals up. So, Radio 7 is next on our list. If you'd like to be Radio 7, give us a call here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Oh, and something I noticed, I was going to make a comment last week. We were talking about the Heathkit DX100. And on further inspection, since I've never had one in the shack here, and I probably knew this, but I was impressed. It has 160 meters on it. Even the Collins, the KWS-1 doesn't even have 160 meters on the transmitter. So maybe it was a harder thing to do back in the day. I don't know. I think, didn't some of the Vikings, the Valiants have 160, but that's pretty cool. It has the 160 transmit as well as the 11 meters. So you can't go wrong with that DX100. OTR listening, looking for radio number 7.
OTR?
We talk about timing if ever you wanted it. The break OTR, go ahead.
SWL number 7, checking in with a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
All right, trying to reposition my foot switch here, which is slipping away. And hello to you. My memory is failing me. I'm thinking I didn't check you in. Well, I guess I could look at my list, huh? Did I check you in on the... Yes, I did. All right. It's been so long and so quiet. How would I know? How would I know that you were listening? Because radio number 7 is up in the queue. Put you in at 939. The Browning Golden Eagle sounding good. It's a Browning evening for sure. Back to you.
Oh, well, good deal. Well, actually, I completely missed the show up until now. I've been on the phone to Oklahoma and Arkansas, so, yeah, I just don't even know what's going on. I haven't heard anybody, darn it. But anyway, here's the Browning with the, and a Golden Eagle D104 also, the Double Eagle.
Double Eagle sounding good for our Radio 7. SWL7 at his microphonium. I think we've got the picture. I'm trying to get the picture that actually has the, I'll favor the microphonium there with the Golden Eagle mic as well. Sounding good. Does that have that's a non-amplified or is it amplified?
Yes, it is amplified, but it also has a resistor put in line to bring it down a bit.
Oh, okay, very good. We were talking about the amplified microphones on Brownings and how it sort of fights the radio because you have to turn everything down so much. So if you know that's the microphone that you want to use, then prepping it for the radio with the resistor is a good thing. Is that something that was added, do you know? I mean, or did they make them like that?
No, this was actually added. So, yeah, this is not original equipment. Just put a little extra resistor in there. I forget exactly. I got the little schematic somewhere that shows you how to do it.
All right, good way to do it. Make it play with the radio, and it's perfect. It's still loud, but it doesn't have your voice bouncing off the walls and all of that, but it definitely has the good Browning sound. For Radio 7, the Mark III SSB. We did get a Mark III AM in tonight. Who had that? That was from Crazy Eddie at the AM model. And then, as we said, if you added $200 to that, you could get the bigger transmitter with the sideband already built in. Looking good and sounding good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for bringing it by.
Oh, well, thank you. Without you there, I'd be checking into nothing. All right. With that, we'll go ahead and let you hopefully pick up some more radios.
All right, we will do that. I want to wave a hand. We talk about the shortwave listeners. A lot of us, that's how we started, right? With the walkie-talkies or the Space Command Patrol radios. Maybe an old Hallicrafters receiver. Maybe like Vincey with his ICOM 761 SWLing out there on the frequency and tuning us in at old@tuberadio.net. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of us here are also ham radio operators, but a lot of us not. But we enjoy the classic sound. And I guess if you call the guys on 3870 and 3880 with the old Johnsons and the Collins and the Heathkits, the Big Iron. This is the version, the 11-meter version of the Big Iron, or maybe the Little Iron, as we have our vintage tube radio nights here on Saturdays. 27085 is our frequency, channel 11. And a lot of people have some really, really nice, great collections, as you can see as we try and pop up the pictures here as they check in. And believe it or not, sir, we have been doing this for 34 years. That's how popular it is and how much fun people have. Just, jumping away from whatever they're doing on a Saturday evening, sneaking away, if you will, and jumping on the radio and firing up the nice sound of tube audio. Hello to WA6SWM. Thanks, Vince. And you are in Fresno. All right, maybe I will see you at one of the meetings. Dennis here, Kilowatt Bravo 6, Germany, France, Denmark. Thanks for tuning in. And if you can SWL on the 761, well, maybe you are. I guess if you're in Fresno, I'm putting two and two together. I'm so used to people chiming in from far off lands, but yeah, hopefully I'm not too bad here on low-level AM for the 761. Yeah, we'll catch you on the other bands soon, I hope. We are looking for radio number 8.
45.
And hello, Paul. Looks like the radio room is still open for business. Over.
Yeah, I'm breaking a few extra ones out tonight. I had a lot of trouble finding microphones. I got microphones stuck all around here. Anyway, this is my Robin T-123.
All right, lots of Robin radio fans. In fact, unless you're a fan of a Browning tonight, coming up with some blanks for our favorites. So the Robin people, here we go. And this is the cool radio. We have a lot of stations that enjoy the Magic Eye tubes, and the Robin T-123 was one of those that incorporated it to be used to indicate the modulation. And some of you SWLs that have the old Zenith receivers or radios know that they used a Magic Eye as a tuning indicator. When you got the two little glowing parts of the eye to come together, you were tuned in properly. And likewise on this, if you get the two little glowing eye parts of the tube to come together, you are approaching your 100% modulation. And you sound great on yours, Paul. Take another transmission.
Yeah, I enjoy watching it. It goes all the way sharp when it's working well. And, of course, the meter's working over there, too, so we got everything going on this thing. Very pretty radio. It's another one made in Japan by Panasonic. And this is also hybrid. Very, very neat radio. I love that Magic Eye thing. The microphone is even made in Japan. And it's made, I said Robin right on the front. I'd never seen a microphone like this, but it's definitely stock for the radio, which I'd love to get stock mics, which doesn't happen very often. Anyway, other than that, this is really a classy radio. Back to you.
Another very popular series, like the T-Berry Model T, I remember back when I was on in the early 70s hearing a lot of Robins. They always sounded good because they were the Panasonic chassis, which I think might actually be plate modulated. 11 tubes. There were 2 transistors. Somebody told me they thought that was for a 11 meter or a 12 volt DC, the conversion for that. 23 channels, of course, before anything before 1976. Obviously, it's going to be legally 23 channels. It had to be crystal control transmit. And it sounds great. You don't have to touch a thing on that. That could be, as we often say, could be a daily driver. We know what I will do, since we did it on the T-Berry Model T. This is about sort of the same vintage. We'll give you a frequency check. So give me one more transmission, see where you fall on the frequency.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. When you get down with that check on it, I think this is pretty close to being dead on, if I remember right. When I checked it, I just checked it here not too long ago, so this thing's changed on the thing. That give you enough time?
Perfect. You are right where, I put it right where the Model T was. Very close. Just a hair low, but so very close. So the probably synthesized crystals in there are holding up well.
Okay. This thing also I want to tell you about, whether you mentioned it or not, this thing got an all-copper chassis. It's just beautiful back there. It's shiny copper. You don't see that very often. It's just an impressive radio. This thing has got the cover on the thing, this metallic black outline on the thing, and then it's got a metallic green paint, deep-colored paint on the back and body. Very nice radio. Anyway, that's it, and thanks a million.
All right, thank you. You did say you had the Robin, the matching Robin mic, because this photo, which is from Cliff's collection, and I think I'm showing it there, shows it off in the corner, but it's a desk style mic, and I think the name of it is an MT, like Mike Tango #1, but it's a push-to-talk desk style mic. Over.
I think it's an MC-20 on this one.
Okay, an MC-20. I think Cliff used to say he had an MT1. Maybe it's. And I see there's a knob on it. It's got an amplified. It's got an amplified bass. Does that have a? Do you have to put a battery in that one?
No battery at all. It's just completely stock.
Wow. All right. I was going to say it's got plenty of audio, so maybe that is the amplified version, but it sounds similar. And then with the picture what we're showing is an MT1 Robin microphone. Radio number 8. Thanks, Paul, for bringing it by from Robin. The first in their Big 3 series, the Robin T123 with the magic eye, then the T123B without the magic eye, and then their 40-channel version, the T240D. And we hear all of them sometimes here on the Old Tube Radio Network. We are looking for Radio 9, probably about 10 minutes left before we sign off tonight. But if you've got a chance to sneak away from the activities and fire up a radio, plenty of time to get your tubes warmed up before we sign out and count in them out tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. I'm not sure. Why should the Robin be highlighted in orange? I mean, on the front of the radio? I don't know. I don't know why it should be highlighted in orange, or if it should. Maybe it was. Maybe it just faded out. Okay, there it is. I want to show that we don't always play favorites here. Let me see if I can pop this video up on the screen. Here's an honor of Vince listening in here tonight. SWLing. Now, there's the fine piece of equipment he's got. You probably won't find a vacuum tube in that, but what a nice radio. The ICOM 761. Which I do believe has a general coverage receiver that is probably obviously tunable to the 11-meter band here. All mode, 160 through 10 meters, built-in antenna tuner with CW break-in. The 761 was sort of their big radio before they went into the Pro series. This was the top-of-the-line radio, and I was going to try and see if I could get an old price off of Universal Radio, but I guess when the radio's discontinued, they don't show the price. But I would bet a 761 was probably, in the $3,000 or $4,000 range? That much? It was up there with like the 940s and the 950s and the radios of that ilk. And before everything was all digital. What was the other one they had? The 781, I guess, was the big buck ICOM radio. Anyway, Vince, they want to show when we get an SWL, we don't play favorites here. We want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to be a star. Old Tube Radio Network, we are looking for radio number 9.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, please.
65, checking in.
Looking good, sir. Let me pull out the shortwave radio list, SWL65. Hello, Eric. We've got you X'd in the square, super official.
Thank you. A little late this evening, but finally made it.
Not a problem. We are still on the air for, what time is it? Oh, 56. So looking for radio. What radio are we looking for? I think it was number 9. Yeah, radio number 9, if somebody's got it, getting ready to count them out. And the Jingle Singers would like to get in here one more time. So let's let them do that.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Number 7.
Hello, number 7, over.
Hello. This time, bringing a E.F. Johnson Messenger 223.
Good deal. We mentioned the E.F. Johnsons earlier. We were talking about their amateur radio transmitters. Big iron. In fact, there was a discussion that did they ever make a matching receiver? They made the transmitters, but they certainly did when it came to their 11-meter radios. And you have in the trio of the Messenger series, at least the Messenger and the Messenger 2 and the 223. Which is their deluxe model. So let me, I'm gonna pull up the picture that's got the modulation light. I know it's the one we're going to show isn't going to be anything similar to your modifications, but people will get an idea of what a classy radio this is as you take a transmission on your Johnson Messenger 223.
There you go, nice simple radio. Only 3 knobs on the front. You got S meter, channel selector, and this one has a Silver Eagle D104 attached.
Sounds good. Messenger 223 was built. I think you could put just about any microphone on there, from a supplied stock mic, showing a Johnson desk mic. A D104 is good. It had that kind of middle-of-the-road audio, so if you had a mic that's a little bit bassy, it helps. If you have a mic that's got a little bit of punch like the D104, it helps. And the radio is just classic and cool. Another one sold a lot of in the late 60s, early 70s, mainly because I think there was just a lot of E.F. Johnson dealers. It was good for electronic stores to have that radio because the price point was pretty good. Plus, Sears Roebuck had a version of that with their name on it, but it was basically a Johnson Messenger 223. Back to you for more Radio 9.
Oh, there you go. Now, that one you have pictured since I just got the internet up. Stupid thing was doing some crazy stuff. Yes, that has a modulation light, not like mine. Mine has the blue LEDs instead of the little lights that are the white lights behind the screen there. And, of course, the buffalo nickels in place of the little metal pieces that are on the knobs there. So, definitely a little bit unique.
One of a kind. Maybe that was the Buffalo Nickel prototype. Or maybe that was, we had a picture at one time of the Messenger, the Viking Messenger Johnson, that was sitting under the dashboard of supposedly the car that Elvis Presley had. I don't know, it was probably a Cadillac of some sort. So maybe this was designed for, I don't know, maybe this was Jerry Lewis's Messenger in his Lincoln.
Oh, there you go. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, we'll get to it there. And I guess there's not enough time to warm up one more, so that'll be it for the night.
All right, I see we've just hit the 10 o'clock hour, but I can certainly see him careening around the corner in the 1970 Continental convertible with the microphone, hey, lady! Doing something like that. All right, thanks for Radio 9. Counting and amounting. Jingle Singers are going to help us out here. Yeah, what they do. They always like to do this at the end, and we'll be listening if you'd like to get one last check in here before we go.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
OTR listening. Last call for check-ins.
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR totals.
Call it the current and final OTR totals here, the Old Tube Radio Network, for the 26th day of January 2019. Still going strong. Thanks to all of you and your time sharing your radio collections with the Old Tube Radio Network here. Shortwave listeners appreciate it, I'm sure. I know I do. Keeps me busy. But that's a good thing on a Saturday evening. Stay out of trouble. As much trouble as we can get into checking in the old radios. Checking in tonight on the SWL side, we had 7 from page 1, 14 from page 2, 12 from page 3, and 18 from page 4, for a total of 51 check-ins tonight. And on the radio side, we made it to 9, with the most heard manufacturer being the Brownings at 1, 2, 3, 4. But some other manufacturers being represented as well. Radio number 1 tonight, Chris jumping in and sounding very good doing it with the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Thanks, Chris, for that. And you're sounding good. And just keep getting better here for 2019. First check-in of the new year. Thank you, Paul, on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV. The hybrid radio. We measured that one time, right? We put it on the scale, and we came up with it's about 75% tubes. Maybe not good enough for a check-in in 1985, but here in 2019, it'll get on the list every time. Thanks for Radio 2. Radio number 3, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, the AM version. Kind of a rare, pun intended, a rare bird. If you wanted to save $200 back in the day, that's the radio you bought, and you walked away $500 in the hole, but you had a very nice set that built like a tank and works 40 years later. Thanks to Eddie for that one. The Falcon again on the Air Castle 2302 under the guise of maybe a Fan and Courier. Nice audio on that. Those always sounded good. I came very close. I think my first radio came very close to being the Fan and Courier. But for some reason, I ended up... I got the Radio Shack Navajo, their first one, the TRC-23 or the 23C. I think because it was about $20 cheaper. Little did I know, I probably back in the day thought, I don't want that. I don't want any of those darn old tubes. See, sometimes when you get older, you get smarter. But I almost had one of those radios, so I probably would still have it. Radio number 5, Mr. Ron from the Ditch Banks, 82 on the R27 S23 Eagle combination. Really loud. Now I know why he's so loud, because he's on an Eagle. Radio 6, Paul on the T-Berry Model T, the 23-channel version. from about 1972 to 76, I think, for that one. Mr. Ed, Radio 7, on his Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, followed by Paul on the Robin T123, with the Magic Eye winking and blinking, radio number 9. Tying the ribbons on the net tonight with the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. Thanks, everybody, for your participation in the net, whether you were checking in radios for us or listening in on whatever device you might have, whether it's the ICOM 761 or perhaps the lowliest of radio flip phones that will pick up the internet. We enjoy having you along and hope that wherever you might be, you have some sort of get-on-the-air night, whether it's vintage or classic or whatever you have, and get people on the air. It's fun, and we've been doing it for 34 years and always having a good time. Thanks to SearchFlorence.com and Frodex for keeping the Nixie tubes running. And we will have the audio of the check-ins archived at oldtuberadio.net. And the video will stay up for a while, I guess, until YouTube gets tired of looking at my face and tells me to take it down. Let me check one last time. 73 to those checking out over on the video side, and I want to make sure there was no questions I need to answer. And, Vince was around 2000 in 1989, and only has reception on 11 meters, as most of the radios did. They had the general coverage receive, and usually there was something that you had to do internally, whether it was get rid of some service mount resistor that was blocking the transmit out of that, or cut a green wire or flip a switch or something like that. So I remember the 761, top of the line. Or it was the 781. That was the other one. That was their expensive one. So good stuff. Anyway, thanks for bringing it by, and thanks to all of you. 73, everybody. I'll stop talking. We'll turn off the video, and we'll have a great rest of our weekend. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we have checking in a Cobra Cam 88 from Mr. JT on the old Radio Night. There is a link somewhere down on the page there for the old Radio Night replay if you'd like to see what JT does. Good night, everybody. We will talk to you later from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis. And looks like Tim Olson's on the chat there waving a hand. So we'll say hello to him also.
Okay, the mighty Timtron. Yes, indeed. Tim, I'm hoping to put up a reasonable size wire that, in all intents and purposes, should beacon up your way quite nicely, I hope. It's probably going to be oriented the wrong way, but we'll see if it'll work on 75. On 75 sometimes. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you all later. We'll catch you all later on the video side. Good night, everybody.